You've alluded to it. So Jameis Winston, look at his numbers against the Ravens and Steelers. Again, these are the guys you got to beat if you want to win this division eventually. It ain't happening this year. He's 45 of 68, so almost 67% completion percentage. 553 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So again, Winston again, and the Steelers, you can say a lot about Steelers. Their defense is good. The Ravens' pass defense down a little bit, but again, if you can do it against those teams, that's the baseline for winning this division.
I throw it out there. If Baker Mayfield did that against those two teams, what would we say? We can win with that.
Yep.
If Deshaun Watson threw for them numbers, we some of us in the fan base would put a trophy up of him. He'd have a statue out front if he could. We talked about that half of football with Deshaun Watson so tough, right? Think about it. We made that. We squinted real hard. Now I know these is glasses, but they prescriptions. I need these to see. We was squinting so tough. Let me see if I can figure out this thing with the. Yep, that was a brilliant game. Won it on the road. And look, we joke about that. But, hey, that was the best we had at that time, and we was going to hang our hat on it. But look at these numbers. These are not, numbers to laugh at. When you take a look at what he's done and throw in the game where he almost throws for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions against the Saints, why are these numbers being diminished to a point where now we're like, well, I guess, but Mike Tomlin kind of he had a couple blunders down the ending part of that game, and why are we trying to diminish this? Because at the end of the day, we should be evaluating this because there's no readily available quarterback just running through that room. I mean, we just talked about what the other alternative is. Do you think fans would be like, hey, let me just go ahead and insert Deshaun Watson back as the starter? Do you think people would be excited about that? No, they wouldn't. I think the Cleveland Browns need to really, truly evaluate Jameis Winston the rest of these games to see if they're going to have a quarterback that can be a stopgap quarterback that potentially gives you 2 years, 1 year, 2 year until you figure out what you want to do at quarterback. You'll have more flexibility. Deshaun Watson's numbers will be coming off the books in 2 years. But if you can get good football from Jameis Winston and you can still go in the draft and find guys like maybe a Travis Hunter if you're lucky enough to you draft him high, or if you see a dynamic receiver or a left tackle or another defensive end, another rusher that can be dynamic, you by all means go ahead and draft those guys, plug and play. And try to build and bolster around what you got with Jameis Winston, and don't force a quarterback unless you're loving one to death. And by the way, if you're gonna get a Beck and you get Beck out of Georgia because his numbers look kind of bad now, and he slides to the second round, I'm all for it. Give me a second round pick and give me a little quarterback where I could try to work with him and bring him along slowly with Jameis at quarterback.